Hey guys, Shane here as always, and you are about to listen to episode 43 of the Twin Sons podcast. This week we had the honor of interviewing Lanup, a content creator on YouTube, on Twitch. He's on Twitter as well. A great content creator, hilarious videos, very funny decks, very innovative, and just a wholesome, genuine guy. Super, super funny. So make sure to give him a follow. All of his links will be in the description below, so you can grab those there. Also, guys, as always, the Twin Sons podcast is brought to you directly by RuneterraCCG.com. It is a site filled with awesome Runeterra content. It is something that you need to be tuned into during spoiler season, especially we have daily articles breaking down all of the content that's coming out. And on top of that, fully updated what are the new cards being revealed, the artwork for everything, and all of that type of stuff. So if you're not tuned into that site during spoiler season, you're missing out. Make sure you tune into that. Secondly, please, again, subscribe to our YouTube. We are pumping out YouTube content. It is the best way you can support us for sure, besides liking, commenting, and all the podcast posts. A subscription and a like and a comment on YouTube means the world to us. It really helps our content get out there, and that is our best path to league partner, which is our end goal. So I would really appreciate it personally if you could spend some time and follow us there as well. Those links, of course, will be in the description. Enjoy episode 43, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Twin Sons podcast, episode 43. I am Shane.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Gomez, son of a bitch man.
It's Gomez. This is Mikey's replacement.
The replacement of Mikey! Good guy.
We have Gomez, aka Lanup, who you might recognize from, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Am I missing anything else?
Pornhub. No, I'm not really on there.
You know, the four major Legends of Runeterra sites.
Exactly, you know it well.
Well, welcome to the show, buddy. Lanup is
pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
You've been making content for a long time now. I had the honor of joining your podcast, you and We the Peoples and Suburban Swervin's podcast called the Mystic Shot Podcast. I believe that was last week.
Yes,
so we got to chat then. So, you got to have you back on this show, and welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry I came on this show at the exact point when reveals were happening, so you more want to speak to, we should talk about the reveals, but instead you have this asshole to talk to, so, good to know.
It's great. We'll just work you into the reveal talk. That's great. It's great. We got plenty of time to talk about reveals next week, too, so it's all right. Okay, so jumping into the show, I guess just right off the bat. Josh, we don't really care how you're doing. You're doing fine, right?
Yeah, I am doing great.
All right, great. All right, moving on. Moving on. We got some short interview questions for you, Lanup, just so we can get, the audience to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, do I need to sit on some kind of long couch thing and,
Yeah, I'm taking notes. I got my notepad.
You're gonna, so how does that make you feel?
I'm taking notes, if you can hear my notes. Josh, you want to go first? You take the first one, buddy.
Sure. So, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great, mate. If these are the levels of questions, I love it already. Yeah.
I just wanted to start you off easy.
I can answer that question nice. So yeah, no, I'm doing great.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I guess. Basically, I just wanted to know a little bit about you. So, what's your gaming history?
Gaming history is in just with card games, or gaming history in terms of just all gaming, all gaming.
We'll stick to cards right now. We'll see if there's anything interesting to branch off of.
I mean, as you say, so I started with Pokemon was the first card game on the mean playground of when I was in primary school. As I said, my terrible story about back then, which I said it's still is in my head as being such an annoyance, is that I actually beat somebody, and we actually had this rule of if you beat somebody, you get their best card, and
wow.
I technically won his shiny Charizard, but then he talked to his mum. She then had a go, and I had to give it back apparently. But all I'm saying is, you must adhere to the rules of the card game. This is you don't see Yugi crying for his mother.
What's amazing is I used to play Pokemon with my friends. We didn't really know the rules on, if we were playing right. But basically, we had the same rule. It's like if we lost, then we had to give up our best card. And I ended up losing, and I had a shiny Charizard, and I took my cards and went home before he took it. So.
There you go. Yep.
My God, it was you!
Yeah, that Charizard's probably worth a lot of money now too. So it's a shame.
That's what I'm talking about. I won it fair and square, and you got to adhere to the rules of the card game. You play by the game, you live by the game.
Well, one day we'll find him, and I'll make sure Josh sends you your Charizard.
So I started with Pokemon, and then I kind of did a little tiny bit in Magic, but I didn't really get into Magic that much, mostly because none of my friends gave a crap about card games. So Pokemon was like at least everyone saw it on TV, everyone loved it, and so there was a little bit there. But then Magic, nobody in the school that I was in, or none of my friends were interested in it. So I kind of it then kind of died down to nothingness. I still played games, I've been playing video games all of my life. I could go into that history if you want me to, but we're go cards at the moment. I picked it back up again with Hearthstone. Hearthstone was legitimately where I would, or Hearthstone, however people say it. I call it Hearthstone, but some people call it Hearthstone, so it goes either way. I picked up with that, and I just loved it so much. It was such a fun game that I didn't need anyone else that to have the physical cards and things like that. It was just all online, and I loved that. Played that for 5 years. Then I started looking on the random things that were coming out as well and checking them out. So I don't know if you remember the Elder Scrolls made a card game at one point. So I checked that out in beta. Absolute garbage. Then I tried the Witcher Gwent game, because I actually did. This is the comical thing about I played The Witcher 3, and I legitimately screwed off the whole main story, and my goal was to make Geralt the king of games, and so literally I just went around dueling everyone at Gwent to get all the best cards in Gwent. So the world was going to hell, but I didn't care about that. I just wanted to get my amazing Gwent cards and that. But then when I played Gwent in beta, it was nothing like the game in The Witcher, so I kind of was like, I can't bother that. I'll stick with Hearthstone. But then I ended up just seeing this ad coming out for Runeterra. I think I saw it on IGN or something like that. I can't remember where it was I first saw it, but I saw that Riot was making a card game, and I was just like, well, I'll give it a go. I'm always up for seeing whether or not anything's going to compare to Hearthstone or compete with it. So I gave it a go. I was like, my God, this is genius! This is where I need to be! And so, I haven't... because Hearthstone was kind of dying for me at that point anyway, because I always said that when Leroy Jenkins got cycled into the Hall of Fame, that was no longer Hearthstone. And so it was just at that exact moment that I said Runeterra came along, and so as Hearthstone died, Runeterra was born! And that's just where I've just been loving all of my time in terms of that.
That's kind of where we're at again right now. I mean, Hearthstone dropped the ball with the Battle Pass, and from the ashes, new players have been born.
Yeah, people are popping up everywhere. I see more and more people every day. I just came from Hearthstone. Just came from Hearthstone. Just came from Hearthstone.
Yeah, there's so many Reddit posts that just begin with Hearthstone refugee here.
Talking about, save me.
Pretty much. Please tell me what this card does. Pretty hilarious stuff there. All right, well, my next question was, how did you actually hear about Runeterra? So you answered that. So I guess just next question is, what's your credit card number?
Well, that'd be 109.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Josh, we almost got him, bud. Next time. That'll work. That'll work eventually. All right, I guess then here is my next question. We know you've been creating content for this game in a bit, for a good bit here, but do you have a particular moment, either if it was in a video or a stream or anything, that's your number one, this is classic Lanup / Gomez type stuff right there?
Anytime when I play Pursuit, anytime when I play Pursuit, the clip that went quite big on Reddit with the "save me" when I was literally just trying to deep dive through my deck to find what I needed, or to find the hush which was a good point, but also just beating somebody who was playing deep and basically I only had 2 health left, but then they used Vengeance on my perfection, but then I just used Fading Memories to make an ephemeral copy and then play it again and be like, "Ah!" You can't beat them all.
I remember that one. That one was pretty obnoxious. I'm pretty sure he started screaming about Yu-Gi-Oh! Right after.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Probably wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that was insanity. Yeah, Pursuit of the Perfection. I think that's a perfect card for you. I think that nailed it.
Sums me up.
All right, I guess then, more in terms of your content. Then, I mean, like, did you? You played Hearthstone for what you said 5 years. Did you actually make content for that game as well, or did it not happen until?
I did actually. No, I did. I made content because the thing of it was that the Lanup channel actually first. I mean, do you want me to go back and explain like how this all began? Because actually, the story of the Lanup channel begins 7 years ago.
It was a stormy night.
It was a stormy night. I mean, the Lanup channel's initial concept was, so my friends and I used to get together and go around each other's houses, bringing our PlayStation 3s at the time, and then eventually PlayStation 4s, around each other's houses with our monitors, and so we just used to all LAN up in the same room, and we'd play like Call of Duty, FIFA, which is I would say a football game, but then I guess you guys would call it soccer. But I just want to say as an Englishman, you guys play hand egg. It's not it's not football. It's hand egg. It's what you play. Because it's not ball shaped and you use your hands, whereas football is all about a ball shape and they kick it. So I just need to say that as a point.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shots fired. Rename the game Egg Hat or Hand Egg. But yes, so we used to go around each other's houses, bringing our PlayStations and whatnot. And what ended up happening was there was a channel at the time because I was really into. Do you remember the YouTube days of like Freddie W and Corridor Digital? Maybe you heard of that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, they actually had a channel called Node that was those guys gaming, and it was all of them all together, all with cameras on. And I was like, my God, I want to make like a channel like this. And so I went out, got all the equipment, got mics, got little cameras, got everything, and then was like, guys, let's totally do this and get together and make this channel. And then all my friends just turned around and was like, we don't want to be on YouTube. We don't want to do anything else. You bastards! I mean, to be fair, I should have checked with them first. I just initially thought that they would all be involved in this. So then I started creating content on my own, just playing games. It was literally just a variety of different games. So like playing like Outlast, playing I can't remember what it was, but a lot of single player games, and just recording myself talking the random bollocks that you hear today. And just literally what happened was one of my friends was just like, okay, I kind of want to get involved. So he got involved, and then so there was then 2 of us, and then a little while after that, his girlfriend wanted to get involved as well, and so it became 3 of us on the channel, and it became 3 of us on the channel for a very long time, and then what ended up happening was, so we were mostly on YouTube at that point, so we were just making YouTube content. We then started making Twitch content about 3 years ago. Actually, that'd be 4 years ago now. Oh my God, I'm an old has-been. What happened to me? 4 years ago, but it was literally just variety content, like literally because. So I used to play Hearthstone on a Monday, and then they'd play something on a Tuesday, and then we'd play a game together on the Wednesday, type thing, and that's how it went. So it literally the channel never took off because we were going in too many directions. I realise that now, but you tell that to me back then, they go, "Ah, you fool! This is fine."
Yeah.
Yes, jump forward to literally it is a year ago. It is basically a year ago because it was roughly about December or November time last year that they actually busted up, and I actually remember the moment because I was on stream. It's not because what it was on the day where we'd stream together. So what would normally happen would be. Because here's what happened. Because obviously, I would be at my place and they'd be at their place, and I would start off the stream. So I started for an hour before they even came on, and then then they'd come on and we'd watch it, weird thing. But it literally, it got to the moment, it was like 10 minutes before it was supposed to be the us together. And I just get a text just being like, yeah, mate, we're not coming on tonight. So it's up to you right now. I was like, okay, try not to panic. I don't know what's going on there. There could be something serious that's happened, but I'm a professional, damn it. And so I kept my cool throughout the whole stream and just went, oh, sorry, they won't be joining us this evening, but we shall carry on. And then got to the end of it, and I called them up and been like, is everything okay? Like, is everything happened? Is everyone okay? And it was like, oh, we've busted up, and that we neither of us want anything to do with the channel anymore, so it's just yours. And I was just like, it was an overwhelming thought at that time, but without it, the channel wouldn't be what it is today, because they were never into card games and anything like that. So literally, the Lanup channel would, to this day, if they hadn't busted up, still be variety content where we'd be playing bits and pieces. I would have probably still been playing Runeterra, but that would have only been literally the Monday stream, and you probably never would have heard of the Lanup channel if that would have continued, because literally it would just have stayed, because it was literally at about 10 views, and that's like, it never got any higher than 10 views, like, at all.
And then now you just hit 1,000 subscribers, right? Like,
indeed, yes, no, on Twitch I've hit 1,000 followers, and on YouTube 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, no, that was just all because of this card game.
Yeah, seriously, congrats. I mean, you do a ton of videos. I mean, you stream a plenty amount as well, but I constantly am seeing your videos. I mean, maybe my algorithm is just loving your content.
Throw more Gomez at him, he loves it.
That's what he needs. Yeah, but I constantly seeing your videos, always high quality stuff, so always hilarious. And yeah, I mean, your channel introduction video alone is just golden. So
I mean, it could be better. It could be better. I need to improve. Like, I literally just every single time I look at the things, it's really annoying. Like, I got that kind of thing where literally it's just like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And so like every single time when I'm editing, it's like, oh, like it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I need to do better. I need to do more. But then like the time constraint is just like, I don't have time to be doing any more editing stuff. I've just got to put it out as is. It's like, oh, I could have done so much more, and I feel like I need to do more. That's what I feel.
Yeah, no, that's the content creation circle that we all go into, because we're all just wanting to do so much, but only so many hours in a day.
Indeed, very much so.
Yeah, seriously. At the end, we'll make sure to. I'm obviously going to put all your links in the description as well, but make sure to, of course, make sure to verbally say all of them as well. So, I mean, if you guys haven't heard, but Lanup on YouTube, Twitch, and the Mystic Shot podcast as well on, I believe Twitch and YouTube too. Yeah, it might be We the People's channel on YouTube, I think, but yeah, Mystic Shot podcast on Twitch as well. So all those things. Well, as far as content for today's episode, I'll talk very shortly about the seasonal tourney, just to recap real quickly, and then we're just going to talk about all these cards. And like, dude, honestly, these spoilers are so up Gomez's alley.
They are so me. It's been amazing. I've been having a great time.
They really, and, Josh, you finally get, PNZ is probably your number one region, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, you're getting some love. Victor's like probably my favorite, probably like top 3 favorite champs. So we're all getting like some solid, stuff geared right toward us. So I'm pretty excited to talk about all that. But as far as seasonal tourney goes, short recap. I went 3-2. I got the card back. I dropped the first 2 games and then bounced back 1-3. So I was happy to get the card back. That is the write-up. I was going to put all the YouTube videos up, but I totally forgot to record the first 2 games. So I just decided to.
It happens, man.
It does. Yeah, I was focused and it wasn't good enough. But yeah, I went 7-5 on the day. As far as the tournament, a lot of people crying about single elimination and things like that, and it is tough. But when you're allowing 1,000 people to play every 2 months, you kind of have to have a harsh cutoff. I think it was ran insanely well. And I mean, it was flawless. I mean, the tournament system was beautiful. You log in, it automatically finds your opponent for you. It tells you when your game's coming up, you play. I mean, results are recorded. I got the card back as soon as like round 5 ended. We all got the rewards, like super crazy, super efficient. Riot is a quality engineering company. So you can just tell when like you just look at like events that Magic's trying to run and then online and you just see what like an actual game company can do. It's just nuts, man. It was beautifully run. Yeah, you guys, I know you guys didn't, but did you guys happen to watch any or anything like that?
I watched a couple of your games.
It wasn't fun, right?
No, I think I was like on and off for your first 2 games, but then I saw you win your last 3. So
yeah,
it was a fun time.
I mean,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
you go.
Yeah, everyone kept banning Darius Draven Overwhelm deck, and I was so hyped about that. It got banned the first 3 rounds, and then the last 2 guys paid though. They didn't ban it, and it was like turn 5 victory both games. I was like, yes, felt very good. Just pummeling.
Yeah, no, I watched like Janky making his way through it because obviously he was streaming it.
Yeah.
Then other than that, I wasn't really checking out that many other people. But I said, like, Riot have done just a fantastic job in general, in my opinion. Like with everything that they've done with this game so far, like the fact that they are supporting it in tournament wise, and the fact that just like how quickly they are on balance patches. Now, I know that there's a lot of people in the community who probably disagree, but as a man who played Hearthstone and waiting for updates to happen on that, you would be lucky if it happened 3 months down the line.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah,
and then they would hit all those cards, and Hearthstone, and I feel like none of them even really hit what they needed to as well, because by that time it was too late. Yeah, no, they nailed this.
Times. I remember times in Hearthstone where literally just like when there was like Druid had like a 70% win rate or like 80% win rate, and literally they did nothing about it for like 2 months or that, and even when they did nerf it, it was like nothing. They did hardly anything to it, and because I mean, there was that whole because their Death Knight, the Druid Death Knight, was a little bit more powered than all the others. I mean, anyone who knows Hearthstone will probably remember this time. But yeah, no, it was insane. But the speed in which Riot actually do changes and gets things done, the team is amazing. And sometimes it's not always what people want or expect, but at the end of the day, I honestly do think that they're doing like a really good job. Considering the fact that, like, there was that time, like, I still think that people were a little bit harsh on that time. I think it was when the Lee Sin nerf hit, because literally there was only 2 things on that patch, but it wasn't normally a patch week. Like, that wouldn't have been like that was just like where they would normally just do little tiny changes. Yeah. They threw that in because the community wanted it so much, and then the community so they did that for the community. The community's like, oh, what? There's only 2 changes. Oh, what have you done? What are you doing? And then obviously the next one they hit like so many champions, and they did so many nerfs and buffs that felt actually really right and for those characters or for those champions. So full on to them. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, well said. And I mean, I feel like when the Lee Sin change did happen, it was like Mogwai was like, all right, everyone grab your pitchforks. We're going to town, people. It was rough. Yeah, I mean, I've argued with you about it a ton, Josh. I was like, this is way too frequent. Like way at the beginning, I was so nervous. But then when they nail it, the meta is just perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, the 2-card nerf or change, whatever, it changed the meta like a decent amount, which was pretty funny because everyone was like, this did nothing. It didn't address any of our concerns. It's like, what are they doing? And it actually Lee Sin, his play rate dropped down, his win rate dropped down. Bilgewater, like the pirate aggro was starting to fall off from the top aggro deck, and then they just did the big change, and now there's just a bunch of viable decks. So it's pretty funny as like people freak out because they didn't change much, but like the 2 little changes had an effect that no one ever.
It rippled through time that people did not understand would happen.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and then when they did nail, it's really important that they nailed the most recent balance patch for the seasonal tournaments. But man, they nailed it. They crushed it out of the park. I mean, this was such a good meta to go into a tournament with. It's a blast. High quality stuff. So we got top 32 is happening on Sunday for pretty much everyone, I believe. I think the EU is on Sunday at some time. I think it's like 12 CST or something. I'm not good with time zones over there. But it starts
time zones over there.
I don't know. I'm not good with time zones. It starts 4 p.m. EST here, or 1 on the West Coast. But so if you want to watch it and tune in, I'll be tuning in. It'll be fun. A lot of cool casters, Swim, Jeff Hoogland. We both had them on the show too. So that's cool to see them get a chance to talk there as well. So, and even they got Brian Kibler,
freak.
He was Hearthstone man. He's casted so much of like the main things of Hearthstone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and Freak is on again, and he did the other one as well, Freak and the other the Pastry Time, right?
Yes.
So they're both on. So that's pretty sweet. So it should be a fun time. We don't cover tournaments a ton here, but I played in it, so I want to at least talk about it for a second.
I can understand that. Cause, sadly, I didn't make it, but to be fair, literally, as I said to you on the Mystic Shop podcast, yeah. I took too long. I decided to concentrate on making meme decks and making videos on meme decks, and by the time I was like, okay, let's start climbing, it was literally just, there was so many options for decks that were viable that it was really hard to make a deck that could beat all of them, and so actually trying to climb became a lot harder at that point.
Yeah, you had a pretty good run at the end there, Josh. You got up to what, diamond, right?
I got into diamonds. Nice. Yeah, I haven't pushed any farther though. I just saw the new cards and was like, I want a deck build, but when I go to deck build, I want to use these cards.
Exactly.
I know that feel. Yes.
Yeah. So good. So we'll jump in and talk about these cards. We're not going to go through all of them, but we'll just highlight random ones that we feel like we'll just take turns and pick a card that we feel like talking about. Quick plug, if you don't make it to the end of the episode, I'll say it now. Next week, we're having Sean Main on again for the third time. So he's the set 3 designer. Yeah. So we're hyped. We'll talk to him about this. We can, if you guys hate any card, let us know. We'll scream at him. He said we were being too nice last time, so we got to come with a little bit more hate, Josh.
We've heard from Umbridge and Sean Main that we're just not spicy enough. So
yeah, apparently we are too nice, and we were getting yelled at for it. So
how dare you be nice? Sling modded me, you bastards! Do it.
That's pretty much what Yip said, man. Before we were on air, he's like, "No, these seriously aren't spicy." I was like, "Okay, man." Damn. All right. I guess first, let's just talk about new keyword, right? I mean, new keyword's the biggest thing here. So, Augment. Augment is a keyword that's going to be found, it looks like, primarily in Piltover Zone. It is when you play a created card, grant me +1/+0. Josh, I guess I'll just let you talk about Augment for a second.
Yeah, Augment, super cool. Any deck that you're running that kind of spams out cards, or, if you have any people with Augment that have keywords like Quick Attack or, anything. They're just instantly growing, or if they're low cost and you put them out and they have Augment and they're just growing in attack from the start. You could have some beefy units, or not, I shouldn't say beefy, just like heavy hitting units by turn 4 or 5, which is pretty awesome. And, with the rest of the cards that they've put out, which we'll get to, I think Augment's going to be super fun in decks that, are creating and, using a decent amount of cards pre turn 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is gems are really good for that, right? Because gems one cost that'll give it +2/+0, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shrooms. I mean, I feel like Gomez, first thing you thought of was probably Pursuit, right? Because you're like, I want to
buddy boo! I was looking at that thinking, oh my god, I can use that 2-mana burst speed card that makes a copy, the +1/+1. 31 with Overwhelm Perfection that costs 1? Yes.
Realistically, I'm pretty sure out of all of the P and Z cards, that's probably the best one. We can talk about that for a second. So what is it? Iterative Improvement? Is that how you say that? Yeah. 2-cost burst, pick a follower, create a copy of it in hand with +1/+1. This is one of the spiciest 2-cost cards I've seen since Pale Cascade, I guess. So this card's insane.
Oh, so many applicable things even making another copy of Dreadway, going full on high value is still good, because of getting one of those, knowing that you've got one on the board already, then getting another one on the board immediately afterwards. We're not having to wait to draw it. It's such an amazing card, and there is just so many different uses, as you said, not just the standard things you immediately think of, but even the henchman could be quite funny, because henchman giving him +1/+1, so he's a 6/4. Every single time that he hits into the Nexus, he creates a copy. So throw a little bit of the what's his face map on him, the Slumpworks map on top of him, and things are gonna get really fun.
Man, see, I honestly, so the Allegiance unit for P and Z is super interesting now, because P and Z actually has more cards. But that card, you're going to create a copy of it in hand. So any summon effect, including Allegiance, you can double proc, if you're playing it. So she's pretty crazy, because she'll be a 5/4 with generating a free give something elusive or grant something elusive. That's tons of value. Josh, I think it was you and I who were talking about, is this just now splash into the fearsome deck? You just play this on Mist Callers or Wraith Callers or something?
Callers, yeah, it's crazy.
It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's so good at burst speed too, because you can just react to like, oh, they're gonna kill my pursuit of perfection. Like, nope.
That's the funny thing. What everyone's been going on about is that it's just the better. Is it like a blood for blood or whatever? Is the one that's in Noxus, which is 2 mana, deal 1 damage, and then obviously the 1 damage is what you want to be proccing for the Crimson package. But this one, but that's a fast speed, so you do it, and they can counter by killing the minion. Whereas with this, they won't be able to counter. Yeah, Marauder deck again. Marauder deck with that is going to kick off.
Oh, true, dude. Yeah, the Marauder definitely comes back with that. Oh man, it's gonna be thick.
Oh, so many plans.
I even want to just do this with Shark Chariots too, because I'm like a Shark Chariot simp. But just like, man, an extra Shark Chariot if you play one. Oh my gosh, dude! The +1/+1 doesn't matter, but it's just that and stalking shadows in a PNZ and Shadow House deck. That's so much value.
That's a crazy. Putting them together, it's like a crazy amount of value. You're drawing, 2 units. And then you're copying one, and one's not even going to be ephemeral. It's like you're going to be able to keep your hands pretty healthy for a while if you're running PZ.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That makes it even better for that fearsome deck because they run stalking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just as a splash. That is pretty. Yeah, because now you can run that stalking and glimpse. I mean, that deck might just be like super legit right off the bat. I guess we got to talk about Victor, though. What do you guys think? Victor's nuts. Gomez, what are your thoughts on him overall?
Oh, Victor, I think he's going to be amazing. I definitely can see him and Heimer teaming up, just because I can just see like all the zero-cost bots that are going to be made off of that, and then the Augment will working off. But also, there was something else that I was going to say with Victor, because it's all about creating cards, and it makes them cost 1 less. And so there was something in my mind that was like, that would be so amazing with this, but my mind has decided to not work with me today. But Victor can be played in like literally there's like so many different regions, I feel, because there's so many things which can create. It's not just a standard, well, Victor only fits into this one box. He can literally he unfolds the box, puts it back together as a circle. He can go in anywhere. He doesn't play by the rules. So screw the rules. I have Victor. But yes, no, I can see so much fun. Like, as you say, it's Teemo he works with, potentially, like, you could, like, if you're talking about, like, just within his own region, potentially Ezreal might get a little bit of play with him because of his champion spell being able to be used as target, and it's creating more target spells that are going to be coming into your hand really soon, because it's only the top 3 cards. With PNZ's draw, I'm just saying that could potentially become quite a funny thing as Victor with Ezreal.
I thought of that too. He creates a fleeting Mystic Shot too, so that counts for a created card.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's going to cost a little bit less. I thought there's so many different, but also playing that Mystic Shot is going to be, which it said like leveling Victor, but also giving him the Augment upgrade as well. So there's so many different ways of utilizing him within his own region, but just also with other things like, like especially as you said, like gems in Targon. And I do feel like there's so much fun that can be had with this guy. Much fun.
He looks awesome, man. I feel like he seriously is like a deck builder's dream. And I feel like, Josh, you're going to lose your mind building with him. Because like Gomez was saying, I mean, Augment in general just opens up like the box, like literally you can build it with so many things. Like even with the Invoke package is super interesting because they're creating cards, and just so many things create cards. So Augment opens up other regions, but Victor in general isn't locked at all. I think he's like a perfect champion for PNZ to really like stretch out where they can go. Where are you putting them first?
That crazy man who throws Victor into Freljord and uses the enraged Yetis, and then uses counterfeit copies to make loads of enraged Yetis, and then actually find a use for the card that everyone thought was dead, the Call of the Wild, or Call the Wild, that brings all these Yetis into hand. They're all 5/5, but they cost 0 because Victor's leveled. Yes.
Dude. And Victor levels, and he levels in deck, which is super important, especially with
very important.
So that's not bad, dude. I've lost to Call of the Wild, man. I have. I'll admit it.
And then obviously in that deck, because you're playing all these big boy Yeti men, just throw in the old what's his face, the pack mentality, and make them all 7/7s with Overwhelm.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Make them ripped. Josh, are you going with Victor Yetis first?
No, I cannot
Dang
say
it,
that.
Josh.
Victor Yetis. That is incredible. I didn't even think of that. I was trying to actually think of like what cards are created in Freljord, and I just passed completely over Yetis.
Yeah,
Nobody thinks of the
one.
Yeti, man.
Victor, I honestly want to try with Bilgewater. They already have a couple cards that create stuff, but they also have Zap, Sprayfin, my little buddy over there, and the iterations definitely is pretty strong on Zap and pulling out tutoring cards that you're looking for. So if you tutor an iterative into an iterative, that's, but you have a 2/2, a 3/3, and then a 4/4 Zap sitting on the board, and you're constantly pulling spells.
Yeah, that's nasty.
So I think I want to try Victor with Bilge to start.
Yeah, Bilge has got some good options for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Even the first in terms of creating cards to meet that 1 mana who creates a 1 mana spell. I can't remember the hell what that name is.
There's the coral creatures.
Coral creatures, which is that's just creating a 1 mana spell, which once Victor levels doesn't cost anything.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very solid. Yeah, man, that's pretty dang good. I really like. I guess the other cards. I really like Neandroid. Right? I mean,
yes.
I mean, we see this elusive, like Augment and elusive is nasty, but this thing's body's crazy. A 1/3 with Augment. Obviously, it's only going to be a 3 attack on turn. The turn you play it, but I just go right to gems still. Like 1 gem on that thing. You just play the Gift Giver on turn 1, and then you save your mana turn 2. You play Neandroid, and then it's like, oh, here's a 3/3 for 3 with elusive, and then it's just going to keep growing. That's insane value.
Just throw in the Shards of the Mountain card. That's the card that nobody uses, but then at the same time, those gems once Victor levels all become 0 cost with Augment. Yes, yeah,
that's very true, dude. Yeah, call that Shards of the Mountain or whatever it's called. That actually might come back at some point because literally, you're threatening death with just an empty hand and a Neandroid with that, right?
Yeah, you are.
I used to threaten death with that. That was a deck that I built ages ago when I used Slotbot with Shards of the Mountain, and then literally because every single spell that you do, the android goes up by 1/1, and then just throw a Zenith Blade on that baby and say GG.
Dude, oh my god, yeah, that's actually nuts. Yeah,
back in the day when Gomez used to make crazy methods, which is like meme decks.
I guess we also have this Hex Core Foundry. So this is the second P&Z landmark. I was kind of shocked to see. This is after all this, we got 3 regions that have 2 landmarks. That's
I wasn't expecting it.
I don't think anyone was, because literally you were just told okay, right, once this expansion goes live, every region's going to have a landmark and every region's going to have landmark removal, and you're just okay, fine, so we're just going to see the Targon and the Ionia and Demacia landmarks because they're the only regions which don't have landmarks. Then suddenly this immediately hits. It's whoa, they just changed the game on us. It's now going to be the fact that multiple, which there's going to be multiple landmarks potentially in regions. Yes.
Yeah, and we have this one, Frel, and Targon all got 2. This one's interesting. It's just all players draw a card at round start for 3. I mean, it does make Mill a little bit more viable, right? I mean, they've slowly added cards here. Yeah, Teemo for sure. For sure. I mean, it's in that region. You got the Veteran Investigator for making you draw cards. I mean, if there's something there, you see the pieces starting to come together here
for a mill deck. Yeah, it'll a mill deck out eventually. So you already have Nab, and then you have these things that are starting to draw all, and then you have Shrooms. So it's
do you throw this into a Bilge with Bilge Twisted Fate deck?
Yeah, and then just let Twisted go off. I freaking hate Twisted Fate. So he's any more Twisted Fate support, and I'm gonna be like, no.
I guess you can win them all.
Oh my god! Anything else in these P and Z ones you want to talk about, Josh? This is your region.
I enjoy the Ballistic Bot as
Mhm.
it may it has Augment. It's a 1/3. It may not be the greatest card, but it creates this slow cost ignition. It's a 1 cost card, does 1 damage to the Nexus. And I mean, it is slow, but it could be in the right spot. It could be good for a plunder effect. It could be good for, Nightfall. I'm thinking, I mean, there's a couple decks that it could work. If you have it down with Swain gets to stun someone instantly. And I shouldn't say instantly, but on the first turn. So it really intrigues me. I think there's he might not be legitimate, like he's a staple or in main deckable and super competitive decks. But I think there's a lot of building space with him in terms of Nightfall and Plunder.
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, honestly, the 1/3 body might look a little weird, but it's actually pretty dang good with Augment.
Yeah.
You're probably going to play at least one card pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, the 3 health is important there. That's why the Neandroid's the same way. 3 health on the elusive unit's important. I mean, and same with Victor, right? 4 and 5 health. So they gave the Augment characters big health, which is very solid. And we've seen, I feel like we've seen P&Z followers like the Middenstoke Henchman, who has a really good effect, but just has really low health and within that range of getting killed. But 3 health on a 2 and 3 drop is pretty dang good. And then the ceiling's really high with Augment. I don't know, dude. I'm super excited to build with all these cards.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be so fun. I just can't wait. Just give me the card.
Give me the cards. 5 more days. 5 more days. Yeah. All right. Let's move on from the PNZ stuff. I guess that stuff's pretty insane. So I'm going down to these the next 2 images. So the next 2 days we were kind of shocked. We got card 2 X cards from Ionia, Demacia, Freljord, Shadow Isles, and then we got 3 Targon cards as well. But there's some spicy ones in here. Gomez, do you want to pick any one of those from the next 2 images there?
I mean, obviously, the main one is the Pesky Spectre. I mean, he's the main man. He's the main man who's going to unlock so much banter and so much fun, diluting your opponent's deck with these 0-cost 1/1s, because they're going to be trying to draw. Because imagine that, in the Go Hard deck. The Go Hard deck is trying to make loads of copies of Go Hard, and then they just keep drawing these little Pesky Spectre men. I mean, obviously, the Zap can get past it. But other than that, just keep putting all these terrible cards. Because if your deck is statted to work with it, so if you're playing that with Hecarim, so that once they are back on your side of the field, because obviously once your opponent plays them, then they come back into your deck. Once you're playing them, Hecarim, once he's leveled, is then going to have he's going to be making them increased damage, isn't he? Because he gives it all ephemerals plus. Wait, was it +2? Is it +2+2 or +3+3? I can't remember.
It's
+2.
Yeah,
+2. Yeah. So Hecarim just buffing those things up, and I think that could be potentially really, really funny. I mean, yeah.
Pesky, I mean, you were the first person I thought of as soon as I read Pesky. I'm not going to lie. I was like, this screams Gomez. I mean, look at this card.
Imagine that card versus Deep. Just they're trying to get rid of all their cards, and then just no, have some more pesky ghost men. You wanted. That is exactly why you throw it in with P&Z, and you counterfeit copies the hell out of that Spectre, and then just play it so many times and just force it into your opponent's deck. And there's stop, please. No, you want more of these guys. Go.
It's really. I mentioned that in our Discord, and there's some people arguing against me. Deep doesn't care about that, and it's if they draw a pesky, they're drawing something that can't toss cards. So, literally killing.
It slows them down. It definitely slows them down. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even if it's this, they draw 1, and it's instead of drawing, a Dreadbloom Wanderer or even just anything that tosses.
Yeah. The thing of it is, it's going to end up getting into their hand, because it's whether or not. Because the thing of it is that once they obviously play Malachi and he just burns your deck, they don't want to be playing that. But then they have to remove those from their hands, because if they draw them all, they have to kind of. That's the thing, is obviously then they might obliterate your deck, but then they just give you all these little ghost men. It's not really going to mean anything in the grand scheme of things, because down to that part of the game, it's pretty much over. But it'd be funny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a zero cost card. Like you hit that with Stalking Shadows, and it's like, oh, here's 2 Peskies,
Well,
just instantaneously.
as well as that, so you play it with Hecarim, but I mean, you also, because of the fact, obviously, once it dies on your side, it goes into your opponent's. If they play it, then you get more back. I mean, you throw
Yeah.
you throw a Prankster and a Neverglade in your deck, and you're just laughing with the fact that these little Ghostmen are dying, but then you're just like tapping into the opponent's Nexus as they
No,
die.
that's
So,
actually. I think that's the possibility of this being viably competitive is definitely in a prankster deck for sure. I think that's disgusting and could actually make sense. The same with the Evershade.
Do both of them, do like Pesky and the Evershade, give Maokai the possibility of having his own deck finally? Like, is it leading toward? I mean, as of with just those 2 cards, I don't think it's still possible. But like, if more cards come out like this, it's leading towards Maokai actually fitting into a prankster as a win con if you're stretching the game out or something like that.
Instead of it being
potentially,
yeah.
yeah.
He needs that because it's sad when you see Maokai just only have one viable deck, really.
Then he's in deep, yeah.
Evershade is also very important because of the fact that it is something which is now Nightfall based, and it helps Nocturne not have to 100% rely on Targon. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have Targon influence, but Nocturne can basically now. You can play those things and you don't, because most of the time the problem with Nocturne is that all the things you're attacking forward with, sometimes they're going to be going into bad trades, but you attack forward with them because they're Nightfall and you want to be leveling Nocturne because his level up condition is about attacking forward with things with Nightfall. Whereas you don't mind attacking forward with these guys because number 1, they can't defend, and number 2, they're ephemeral anyway. So the fact is that you can just throw a bunch of them out and level Nocturne up, and so potentially Nocturne, Hecarim, but also those shades which they work with near enough everything in Shadow Isles because they can help level Callista, they could help potentially, which if you wanted to yet again do a Demacia deck with what's his face, Lucian, then which they could work in there for helping level him up or to just activate him. There's so many different things that you can use that for.
Yeah, no, the card's crazy good.
You make a really good point. So Nocturne's issue is you can't really do anything with him consistently besides with Targon.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I was always thinking, I was like, oh, why is Nightfall only in Targon and Shadow Isles? It kind of makes Nocturne very one-dimensional. It makes Diana a little one-dimensional. But once you start introducing, more Nightfall cards into their own region, and then their own region can support them enough to branch out, it opens up a lot more deck building space. So even though Evershade looks kind of memey, honestly, it just all of its keywords and its function, it actually possibly could open up Nocturne to more deck building scenarios.
Evershade will make what's its face good again. The damn horseman who nobody plays because his whole thing is about all the Nightfall cards that you play, which is what levels him. So you just play loads of Nightshades and suddenly he drops with actually quite a devastating amount of damage. It's like, haha, finally they said I was a fool thinking this was a genius card. Now he shows his true colors.
Yeah, he's him and Nocturne are so much easier to get ripped now. Like you can level Nocturne and freaking Headless Horseman actually could be massive. I guess the last thing I want to talk about with these two, and I'll just say it's interesting because it adds to the pool of cards that Warden's Prey can now make Pesky Spectre, which is pretty funny, and then the Unspeakable Horror can make the Evershade. So that's both kind of funny, interesting options there. Josh, if you want to pick a card out of these, what card would you want to talk about?
There are some good ones, but I'm going to go more on, lore side and like the lore of League and the game, I guess. I was really happy that they introduced Demacia as captain. Captain Erica. I actually really I know it's just the back for I haven't even seen the full art. I was just like, oh wow, that's really cool. We have Captain Farron on Nox's side, and then their obvious parallel or their complete opposite is Demacia. So it's now we have Demacia's Captain Erica. And I thought she was a pretty cool card. I don't think she's I don't think you can't end the game with her. Obviously, she's a 8-drop 6/6, and all she does is capture a unit or a landmark and has spell shield. So I guess it'd be more like if you were trying to stall out a game. You just have her as like a 1 or 2 of in there just to get to late game possibly. I don't know, but I just really enjoyed that they put out Demacia as captain.
She's awesome. I mean, like, yeah, she's a trap card for sure. The fact that she can capture a landmark is just hysterical to me.
I love the fact that like they actually like any one of these landmark removals which are actually multifunctional. That is the way that I love them being, because obviously at the beginning of it, like Targon's one is probably the least. It's the least multifunctioning one, right? Because literally, if you're playing, you need to basically be playing with landmark. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, what's the point of playing that? Because it can draw your landmark, but if your opponent's not playing landmark, the destroy function becomes useless.
Right,
so,
exactly.
All the other regions actually are multi-purpose, so it's either use it on a unit, use it to kill the landmark and that. So I do like that it's still like that. And the fact that she actually drops with spell shield, so it's not as easy, like even if you capture like a big unit, it's not as easy to deal with because you can't just spell that immediately and kill it. So
yeah.
That's a really big thing for them to actually give that.
Yeah, and this is the first spell shield on a unit, right, outside of Targon, so that's cool. Yeah. Important to notice. I know Shadow House has the Shroud of Darkness option, but this is a printed spell shield on a Demacia unit, so kind of important.
You know, I'm surprised with how they've been buffing like the high drops, like their health, like their stat wise. I'm surprised she didn't come out as an 8/8.
Yeah, because they just buffed Tiana up to 8/8 and things, and Minna just got buffed. Yeah, that's true. She's definitely weak on stats. I mean, she's
very similar. I don't like comparing across regions, but she's very similar to like the Mind Splitter. And Mind Splitter comes out 8/8 with Fury, but you'd assume. I mean, I feel like it could just be because it's a different region. Demacia already has some big beefy units, so maybe the 8/8 would be overkill. But
Demacia's got significant ways of buffing as well. That
that's true. That's very true.
I'm not saying that Targon doesn't, but most of their stuff is through heals and health. That's like a continuous buff. So I guess
she's an elite too, so she fits in that.
Yeah,
which is cool.
A lot of synergy that it works with.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with the Solari Sunforger.
I knew it. I was leaving that one for you. I was gonna go with that one. I was like, I'll leave that one to Shane because I knew that's his guy.
Come on, dude. I mean, I like absolutely adore the Daybreak mechanic. I think it's so much fun to play with. I love Leona decks. I put them everywhere. And this thing is awesome, dude. 5/4, which is a pretty unique stat line for Runeterra at a 4-drop. 5 attack at 4 is a lot of power. And on top of that, you Daybreak and it gets lifesteal for just this round. But that is, I mean, Daybreak's already like the go F yourself aggro deck. And now it's even more so. Because you just freaking heal for 5 on turn 4. Oh my gosh, dude. This guy's so good. I love this guy.
I mean, he looks amazing as well. That beard and hair combo, yeah. That beard and hair combo alone is what gives him victory over you. And also the fact that obviously his lifesteal will come back with the Leona spell, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And or if you were playing the out the way with that as well.
Yeah, that spell on him is nuts now because he'll be a 7/6 with lifesteal too if that spell goes off.
Yeah,
like that spell might be main deckable at some point. Like between that and the Eclipse Dragon, you know, they got a lot of love.
Yeah, they really like listening to you because you know your love for the whole first 6 months of the game was Radiant Guardian. And then, you know, they finally nerfed her a tiny bit, but they're like, it's okay, Shane. We got your back. And now your new favorite mechanic has, you know, their version of the Radiant Guardian in the Solari Sunforger. So
I will thank Sean next week for sure. I'll be like, you know what, Sean, thank you.
You listened to my words and you did what I wanted. Excellent.
My God. All right, I guess just to pick 2 more times. Yeah, we'll pick 2 more of this and then we'll talk about Zoe real quick. I feel like it would be not okay if we didn't talk about the Scar Grounds real quick because that card adds so much hype to a lot of old archetypes with the Crimson stuff and all the Scar Mothers.
It adds to my first deck ever made, Braum Vlad.
Oh, Bloodstash.
Yeah.
Good old Bloodstash.
Finally, it finally has something to support it other than, you know, Legion Veteran, which doesn't see any play or I don't even know. Just finally this archetype has something to make it at least interesting, to make it a little bit more consistent. And, you know, what Vlad has been missing it's like, oh, how do you negate just like the negative effect of him draining his units? It's like, oh, you give him tough. So it's like, oh, Vlad with Demacia is pretty funny. It was like in the meta for like a week. People were like, oh my gosh, this is the new thing. And, it was pretty cool for a little bit. But then they realized that it's not that great. But now we have tough in a region that actually supports Vlad's ability and benefits, and I'm really excited to see where it goes with the new Vlad and the new Braum, and yeah, I'm really excited to go back to my origins.
Oh, it's an amazing like what they've done there. Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. That's what I thought immediately. It was just like Vladimir, Braum, bringing them back because because there's so much of those regions which complement each other for that thing. Like it's obviously like Scarmother and those other early game ones when damage gets done to them that they increase. It's just yes, yes.
Yeah,
and with Vladimir's buff as well. But the funny thing is that Vladimir's buff doesn't even matter with this because once they have tough, his 1 damage doesn't actually do anything to them. So.
Yeah, he's going to do it to everybody anyway.
It doesn't matter which side of Vlad you're on. Actually, well, it does, because obviously he's only taking from one side of them, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really love the landmarks that they added. But the Ionia one, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, which is the one where like creates that recall spell. But
yeah,
the Scar Grounds, the Plaza, I think the Plaza is incredible for so many decks, whether it's Demacia with dragons, whether it's just full Demacia elites. I just think I'm a little scared of it just because how consistent Demacia has been. I think it just adds to their consistency and their big beefy units just coming at you. And then Targon's Peak I think is super fun.
Targon's Peak is going to be such banter if people start playing that. The A-Soul spell alone for 0, 15 damage across the board. But I just want to quickly. So number one, the first thing I'd say about the Demacian one is that somebody pointed out to me the other day that the hilarious combo with Undying, because every single time that Undying dies, it gets resummoned at the beginning of the round. So granting Undying some a challenge on your attack turn +1/+1 is devastating.
Shane is all about the Undying.
Oh yeah,
I do. I love an Undying. I love an Undying. And to just quickly touch on the Ionian one, the recall. I think it's got a few different benefits which people might not be noticing, which is obviously the fact that number one, you could use it because obviously it can't be used in combat, sadly, but I think it would be a little bit too overpowered if it could be. But the fact that you could use that to recall, what's it called? The damn card which is 2 mana, which gives everyone +1 attack and things like that. That was used in Kinko. It was used in Kinko Elusives a lot.
Yeah, the Everglade.
Was it the Keeper of the Masks, or was it
Keeper of the Masks? That's what I mean.
Oh, that one.
Things like that, which literally you could just take it back and then throw it back out again and give everyone +1. But not only that, it also works with the Noxian Legion General or whatever his name is, the guy who basically has got fearsome and goes up 1 by 1 every single time that something's recalled or stunned during the game. Because technically, you could throw him out. You could throw him out. Early, you can throw him out, attack forward with him, he takes damage or whatnot, use that to recall him and play him again, but the recall has actually made him now even more powerful the next time he drops.
Yeah.
I forgot he was even a card.
Yeah, Feyblade, him, they're both going to be huge.
So basically, play Sanctuary and just throw that guy down, use him to trade, and then go, I'll recall him back and play him again. He's now even stronger than he was. If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And literally just keep recalling him and putting him back on the field. For the 1-cost burst speed of that recall. I think that's something that people haven't actually realised is a thing that could potentially happen. So just want to say that,
Yeah, it's really going to come down to if... Yeah, they all cost 3, the ones we're talking about, right? Freljord, Ionia, Demacia all cost 3 for each of these landmarks. Mm-hmm. Is that going to kill the tempo of the deck, or is it going to escalate the later turns to something crazy? All 3 of them, I could see it escalating the later turns, like you just said. Either a massive fearsome general, an entire board of tough with Vlad, or just undying challenging units, or dragons all with challenge, or anything like that. It's just going to be if the tempo is there. And these are honestly 3 of my favorite landmarks we have in the game, and they're all coming out at the same time.
Yeah, they're pretty Pretty
So
incredible.
hyped.
I love the landmarks. Just add. It's like they add another archetype, or they add another
Yeah.
space of building for the regions. And I think Riot has killed it so far with this idea. When you imagine new cards, I never imagined. I mean, I haven't played that many card games, so I don't know what other building space areas there are besides looking at league champions and imagining what they could do. So I never even expected landmarks, and I think they have been an amazing addition.
Yeah, they're solid. They're pretty solid, man. All right, we got to talk about Zoe before we wrap this up.
But I think people would be mad if we didn't talk about Moonlight Affliction.
They would be. They would be, yeah. Moonlight Affliction. All right, fine. This card is the one that scares me the most. 5-drop burst, silence 2 enemy units this round. Nightfall. They can't block this round. So obviously, there's a ton of play patterns that are just super toxic. Especially just like if you're playing Draven Targon, doing all the overwhelm stuff, and you just like use an axe, and then you use this with its Nightfall effect as an open attack, and just 2 things can't block. Good luck. Yeah, this card.
And that's when I throw out my Jerrys, because nobody expects the Jerry bot to come out. And no one expects Jerry. That's what I've learned from this game.
Yeah, you're going to need them. Like, this card's absurd. This card it very much scares me. But it is also, it's going to be very weird play pattern-wise. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to require us to play with it a couple times first to see how ridiculous it is, and maybe they know what they're doing. But I'm terrified of it.
Is it any different than Harsh Winds?
Yeah. I mean, it's different than Harsh Winds in the sense that they had to have seen Ash and also froze other things first. They can still block technically.
Yeah, I know, but it still completely cancels like an attacking or defending turn. This thing does the same thing.
Yeah, this thing only cancels on they can't block, so they can still attack.
So it's a worse Harsh Winds when defending, and it's definitely a better Harsh Winds when attacking.
Exactly. Yes. The fact I think it's more of a varying Harsh Winds when attacking, where it can fit into like anything, and you can't stop it. The only thing that stops it is if you silence your own unit, right?
So if you silence a Moonlight Affliction's unit, can you block?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that could make one of those units be able to block. Whereas against Harsh Winds, you could either just buff your own unit, you could kill Ash, you can block. Like, there's a lot of things you could do to block. I think you can literally only silence your own unit to be able to put that blocker into the field.
Does sound like it, to be fair.
It's insane.
I mean, I guess one really roundabout way of going about it is if, they Moonlight Affliction, you still had an extra blocker, so they set up their attack, you set up your blocks, and then they play a spell, and then you stand united the Moonlight Affliction one into the block.
Into combat, yeah. If they challenge something or whatever, yeah. No, it's pretty freaking. That card terrifies me, man. It can go anywhere, and we're gonna see it.
People were really scared. They were saying that it was going to fit into like the Nightfall tempo decks. Doesn't it? Like, it would have to be the finisher, right? Like,
for sure, yeah. It would definitely be like all right, like Lanup was describing with like Nocturne not always leveling. Like, it's the situation where it's like, all right, well, they still have 3 things with 3+ attack that I can't get by, but this slows down 2 of those. Yeah, to a degree, I definitely can see it in the Nightfall deck. I just think the fact that it can fit everywhere is what scares me about it.
Yeah, 5 cost is pretty big. It's like anything early, it's the whole turn. If it's late. Yeah. Obviously, it could be pretty huge late.
It's definitely a finishing card.
The burst speedness of it, so you could go immediately into an open attack, is what makes it devastating.
Yeah, so you have to have at least something else to play first because of the Nightfall. So, that's what people are like. Well, you can't but like gems, any other burst
speed, burst speed, the Risen Mist. so that you get a big, if you've already been playing a Mist Wraith deck, big Mist Wraith, and then stop you from defending him.
Yep. Literally.
I mean, you'd have to wait until you had 9 mana, but still, it's doable.
It's doable. Yeah, that's the kind of it's the same thing where Harsh Winds is used late game to finish an attack, right? It's very similar. You can use Stalking first, a Gem first, an Axe first. Like, there's a lot of cards you can use first. Oh man, this card scares me, Josh.
I think we'll be okay.
All right. I like the attitude. Can I go on to Zoe now, Josh?
Yes. We have got.
How dare you? Yes, let's go.
Yeah, let's please. Zoe's nuts. You guys Gomez just take over. This card's insane. This card's wild. The fact that you have just to see the stuff is what scares me of her, because you got to keep her alive, but still.
Well, the thing of it is keeping her alive, right? So that's going to be one of the hardest tasks. But I do still think that one of her best places will most likely be in P&Z, for the purpose of Heimer, because Heimer's bots, like if you're using different spells, that will help, because obviously she has to see 10 cards being played. But also playing her in P&Z means that there's the lovely card that's known as Suit Up, which will help her with her health stat and urgent attack stat, because she's still elusive. So, potentially,
that's a good point, yeah.
I feel that, obviously, you still want to be kind of you still want to be running, like, Astral Protection, because you want to be trying to keep her alive, because playing 10 cards and keeping her alive is going to be hard. But, at the same point, as I said, they all have to be different cards, right? So, potentially, we see her with a little bit of pursuit action going on. And I
thought of that, yeah.
If we do see her with a little bit of pursuit, because I mean, obviously, I'm just going to build so many pursuit decks when this new look comes out. But the important thing to remember is like that you want to be playing different cards. So you could have Bastion in that deck to help get her past things, but also this might see a rise because of the fact that you've got like the Starry Scamp, who works off of Celestials, and also Zoe's spell, once she attacks in, is going to be creating that like low cost Celestial cards. So Spacey Sketcher, Scamp, and Widget, the fact that she's going to be making those. Potentially, you might even see the old Sparkologist, which people stopped using, come back, because it's a different card. So it's a different card that you're playing, but yet again, giving Zoe Spell Shield again is a potential. So Bastion and that might see a resurgence. But of course, anyone who's not instantly throwing free spell thieves with, yet again, throwing themselves in with counterfeit copies to make loads and loads of them so that you can keep stealing spells from your opponent is a fool.
I really love Spell Thief. Last cast we talked about, or I guess I brought up, the possibility of her having a keyword, where she creates a fleeting of a spell that they used. Well, they put that in a card. Obviously, it's not fleeting, but that you literally pick, create one of three cards.
This is better. This is better because you actually get to decide what you play, and it's all about smart playing here, right? Because your opponent's going to know that you have it, but so your opponent's got two options. Number one, flood spells to try and dilute the spell pool that you could potentially, because you can only pick out a free that it randomly gives you. Right. So dilute. So throw Jerry Bot out. Throw Rummage. Throw like all these little spells that you don't really care your opponent getting, and hope that they grab them. But if you're playing this right, and you're just waiting for your opponent to play something, you're like, okay, right. The second they've played that, they've only played these other spells this turn. My most likely chance to grab this is to play this now. Like it will take really smart plays to. You'd have to remember. The important thing is remembering what your opponent's played.
It's pretty hysterical because going into, say, Demacia, and they go to Concerted Strike, you get Spell Thief, take a Concerted Strike, and then, Concerted Strike their unit that's about to kill you.
Oh, at
on the same turn.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I guess single combat would be the better way to go about that. But you could literally just turn their own spell against them in decks that don't play that many spells, so your chance of seeing it is very high.
I mean, there's a lot of a really funny applications. My one thing that I want to know the answer to is obviously you have to sustain yourself, which admittedly Targon's got sustainability, right, with heals that can heal star shaping and whatnot. They can heal. If you wait long enough and your opponent ends up using Pack Your Bags, can you immediately is Pack Your Bags, or is it because it's created off of casting things? But is the spells that your opponents cast? So technically, the chance of it being in there might be in there to just straight up just get you Pack Your Bags and use it back on them.
Yeah, I wonder if it would come out as a go hard though, because in your deck you haven't used it yet. I'm not sure. I mean,
no. You can. Well, it's spells that your opponent's played, so technically that counts as a spell that your opponent's played. So it might, which would be. But also, the important thing to remember is that I don't know if you've ever played a Nab deck, but Nab can nab. Pack Your Bags directly as Pack Your Bags.
I actually didn't realize that Nab
can take Pack Your Bags as Pack Your Bags, so that's why you wait for your opponent to get to that point and then go, Pilfer goes, oh, look at this. But yeah, so potentially once they've played it, because it does just say pick a card that your enemy, but it will have to obviously be in that random card pool of 3. So they could have played more spells, but the chance of it's one of the spells they've played, you might be able to get. But I want to know whether or not that's possible or not. That's one thing that I will say that I would like to know.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. It could definitely work. Yeah, I think this is gonna be the most toxic card of the set. Spell Thief's gonna be nuts, dude. It's gonna be really good.
How dare you? Number one, it's not just taking from your opponents. Your opponent still gets all the cards that they would have anyway.
Yeah.
And number 2, it actually takes skill to play either around or knowing when to play it.
Very true.
No.
I think it's really good design. I think it's really, really good design. I think it's actually I think Invoke in general is really good design as well, because it's like really challenging. You got to push yourself. You got to figure out what you want, and then you got to make the best of the situations. But Spell Thief, you're right. I mean, on both players' terms, your opponent has to play around it, and then you have to make the best decision at that moment too. It's really cool. Really cool card.
Really good card.
I feel like Zoe's just interesting in general, even just as like a 1-drop. If you're not running full champs, just like the fact that she creates a super cool star chart in hand just for Nexus striking, and it's not fleeting. You just get that card. It's pretty good.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the one thing that I do want to clarify, which obviously, when you're talking with the design lead next time, it'd be very nice to know. So, because her card text specifically says, like, create a star chart in hand or reduce its cost by 1. So does that mean if you, once she tacks in, does it, if you've already got a spell chart, does it just decrease its cost, or do you get another spell chart and it decreases the cost of the one in hand? That's the question that I want to ask, is that whether or not you can have multiple star charts that as she's attacking forward, they're decreasing in cost, or whether or not you can only have one in hand, but every single time she strikes forward, it decreases in cost. That's my question.
Yeah, does it decrease just one of them? Because you can main deck Star. It actually is a rare, so you can actually put Star Chart in your thing too. So, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. Yeah, it is worded weirdly. I wonder how that's going to interact too.
It's the word "or." It's the word "or" is the only thing that's in there that makes me think. Does that mean that you could only have? Obviously, you could have multiple copies of it in your deck so that you can have more. But whether or not, if you do have one in hand, if she strikes forward, does she still create one as well as reducing the cost, or is it just that it reduces the cost?
Yeah,
that's my question.
We'll ask him.
Write this down and ask this question. It's very important to me. I need to know.
Dear Sean. All right, to close out, we have 2 questions from Discord from 2 different members here for you. We put out the questions, said, does anyone want to ask Lanup a question? And we had 2. Josh, you want to read the first one?
Yeah, sure. This is from Dead. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Dead Time Story. Dead Time Story.
Dead Time Story. It's a good name, by the way.
Dead Time Story. Got it right this time. Okay. What deck are you going to rush at the release of the new set based on the cards revealed thus far?
I mean, immediately my mind was to make a Victor deck. I'm still not 100% sure where I'm going to put him. Victor Yetis in Rage? No. But potentially, I feel like I really want to experiment with Victor. But I do also want to experiment with Zoe as well. So it's really hard to answer that question because the answer is I want to make them all. Like Pokemon, I must collect them all, but I must play them all. So I don't actually know. I feel like Victor is more down the route I will go immediately, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to make out of that yet.
Yeah, I think it's a good answer. I think I'd go Victor between the 2 day 1, but I don't know. I like them both. All right, I'll take the last question here. We got Lucia asking, what's your favorite epic card? I think I might know.
I mean, Pursuit of Perfection.
There it is.
I mean, definitely favorite epic. It's just one of the most funniest cards that has the most, people look at your deck most of the time. I mean, to be fair, there are the smarter people who would realise, wait a minute, what the hell is he playing? I mean, he's playing PNZ and he's just playing a bunch of random cards, so I'm guessing this is a pursuit deck. But then you get the people who have got no idea what the hell you're doing, and then suddenly this 30-30, if they're not playing, obviously, if you're playing against Ionia, there's the potential of deny, but you can play around that by seeing how much mana they've used and things. If they're not expecting it, then they don't save the mana. But also there is other ways of playing around it. But anyway, the point is that literally that 30-30 of Overwhelm comes on the board. It's just like, what are you going to do about it? Like, there's not a lot. There's not a lot that is lethal in so many different. There's only very few things. There is obviously like Nautilus and things like that have enough health pool to stop that, or like if you're playing like a really good like the healing deck, and so that you can like use Astral Protection to get something past it. But it's really hard, especially if you're running that deck with Shadow Isles and just make a copy of it with Fading Memories, and then just put like a couple of these big boys down and be like, well, what are you going to do against 3 of these guys? So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, that card. I would say Undying as well is one of them, but Pursuit is without a doubt my favourite.
Yeah, it was a bit of a softball pitch there for you.
I mean, for me, yeah, no, I mean, that's, for me, that was.
Oh my god. All right, well, Lanup, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Can you please take a second here to just plug yourself and any content that you make for us here?
Hello there, people. Thank you for listening. If you have listened and whatnot, who knows? Maybe nobody will hear this bit. But anyway, Lanup on Twitch and on YouTube is like my main bits, but I'm also on Twitter and whatnot like that, Instagram. But yeah, literally catch me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. When do I shoot? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can catch me live on Twitch if you want to, or there's just continuous videos going on YouTube. And yeah, thank you everyone for all the support that I've got so far. So as was said earlier, I have hit my goals for the end of the year, which was to hit 1,000 followers on Twitch and 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So honestly, thank you all so much. This community is by far the best gaming community I've ever been a part of. So thank you all for being you.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Second that. I mean, this is literally one of the nicest communities I've been a part of in a very, very long time, physical or digital. And guys, we appreciate you listening this far, and stay tuned for next week, and we'll have more good content to come. Lanup, again, thank you so much for joining us.
If ever you want to invite me back, I'd love to. This has been so much fun. We didn't even talk about the fact that they print 3D things. Nobody asked about my art.
That's very true, actually. Wait, real quick, say that you're currently doing giveaways for TF cards, right?
Yes, yeah, the Twisted Fate cards. Yes, I've designed, printed, and painted myself, and I'm giving away some on Twitch, like every Thursday stream, and on the YouTube, I will be giving some. When the set goes live, I will be doing a giveaway on YouTube as well as on Twitter for a set of these cards. I've given away 2 sets already, so
nice.
It's all good. It's all fun and games. But literally, I don't know why in my head I was like, they're going to ask about the art, aren't they? Nobody ever asks about the art.
That's hysterical. I'm pretty sure I shared that or something, and I was saying something about the art at one point. We were talking about like crafty people. I totally blanked though. You just make too much content. I can't keep it all straight.
It's very hard. I mean, to be fair, the funny thing of it is that I only really started doing this stuff since March, because I bought a 3D printer in March because one was half price, and I was just like, I've always wanted a 3D printer, and that's half price. Fuck it, I'll buy it. And then I was just like, now I need to teach myself how to 3D design. And slowly but surely taught myself to 3D design, and here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right up Josh's alley. Josh, when are you going to start doing that?
Start 3D printing. I need to buy a 3D printer and remember how to do that stuff.
I mean, if you ever want the files, mate, I've got the files that I've designed. If you want them, so you can get yourself some Twisted Fate cards and a bunch of like region landmarks and things like region what are they called? Blah, 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 decorations for Christmas tree. So if you ever want them, please let me know and I will send them to you, because literally all you've got to do then is just put it onto your 3D printer and print.
Yep, I will keep that in mind.
Well, we appreciate it, buddy. And guys, until next time, make sure to check out this guy's content and stay tuned for more from here. Bye, people.
Thank you for having me. Bye.